An existentialist writer talks about a person who is a merchant and goes into the city one day to sell his diamonds. And he brings his wife in there for the first time, and she's nervous. So he's going about his business, and he tells her, why don't you visit the stores? I'll see you at the end of the day at this particular intersection. When he's gone, she begins to think this is the first time she's been freed and first time she's back in an open arena of options, and thought of a teenage dream she used to have, which the writer doesn't tell us, but basically to say it was some kind of a sensuous dream. And she wonders, should she give in to it? She now has the opportunity as she's alone. But she struggles because she wonders what would happen if her husband ever found out, what would this mean, and all of the ramifications back and forth. Finally, she somehow resists, meets her husband at the end of the day. They go and have dinner, go into a hotel room, check in for the night. Within minutes, he is sound asleep. She's lying with her head on the pillow, wide awake, saying, I may never have this chance again. She gets out of the room, quietly gets changed, goes out, in the words of the writer, enjoys the lust of the night. Comes back, gets changed. And back in bed, the husband has not known she's been gone. And as she lies in bed, now come the tears. The tears are coming down the side of the face, first gently, then more and more, till uncontrollably she sits up in bed and sobs, sobbing her heart out. And the husband, jolted awake, sits up, sees her, and puts his arm around her and says, what's the matter? What's the matter? What's happened? And she just shoves him away and says, nothing, just nothing. That is good existential anticlimax. Because the loneliest moment in life is when you have just experienced that which you thought would deliver the ultimate, and it's let you down. And you have done so at the cost of some boundaries that you had drawn and some lines that defined who you were in your conscience, not just who you were in your social preferences. And I say to you, ladies and gentlemen, the categories are struggling. We cannot define them anymore because secularism has led to a loss of shame, pluralization to a loss of reason. Who needs even explain that anymore with postmodernism, and privatization with a loss of meaning. Now, just in case you think that the Christian preacher is the only one who's sort of sounding forth this warning, listen to Yankelovich and how he ends his extensive article on the breadth of change that takes place when culture has lost its point of reference and how high the stakes are. He does numerous studies of various individuals and couples, and his closing paragraph is this, after studying one couple and making his conclusions. If you feel it is imperative to fill all your needs, and what I would say, therefore, is that there's no categories anymore, and if these needs are contradictory, or simply in conflict with those of others, or simply unfillable, then frustration inevitably follows. To Abby and to Mark as well, self-fulfillment means having a career, and marriage, and children, and sexual freedom, and autonomy, and being liberal, and having money, and choosing nonconformity, and insisting on social justice, and enjoying city life, and country living, and simplicity, and graciousness, and reading, and good friends, and on and on. You see, the individual is not truly fulfilled by becoming ever more autonomous, says Yankelovich. Indeed, he says, to move too far in this direction is to risk psychosis, the ultimate form of autonomy. And then he gives these brilliant lines. The injunction that to find oneself, one must lose oneself, contains a truth any seeker of self-fulfillment needs to grasp. You know, I know of nowhere else where that statement comes to full expression than at the cross of Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.